Good morning students. Myself Mrs. Kanika Maggu. I welcome you all in class 9. I'll be teaching you biology. In your science NCERT book, we have chapter 5, the fundamental unit of life. Today we will start that chapter and I'll be giving you a little introduction to that through my videos. The cell. What is the cell? The cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. All living organisms are made up of these cells only. Each and every living organism starts its life with a single cell. Later on, this cell multiplies and a multicellular organism is being formed. Why we call cell as the structural unit? Firstly, understand this. Whenever a building is being constructed, a wall is being constructed, we place bricks after one after the other and an entire wall is made. So each brick is actually a cell in the living organism that forms the basis of the structure. And why we call it a functional unit? Because all the metabolic activities which are necessary for a living organism to survive take place inside the cell. For example, we have nerve cells in our body. You all have heard the name of the nerve cell. There are many nerve cells in the body and they constitute a nervous tissue. So the function of the nerve cell is to transfer the impulse or the stimulus or the message from one to the other end or from the receptor to the effector organ. So the function of passing the message is being carried on by the nerve cell. That is why we call cell as the functional unit. Each cell has many components. It has many cell organelles in this. These cell organelles perform specific functions. Now, firstly, let us discuss about who discovered the cell, how the cell was discovered, and what is the history of the cell and what is the cell theory. Robert Hooke in the year 1665 discovered cell. What he did, he took a thin slice of cork. What is cork? Cork is the bark of the tree and it is a dead tissue. He removed that bark, that layer of the cork, and observed it under his primitive microscope. What he found that part of the cork looks like a honeycomb like structure and there are many little compartments in that cork. He called these compartments as cells. The term cell in the Latin itself means the little rooms. Why we call it as a honeycomb like structure? Because it seems to have many sections in that. So the cork of the quercus tree was studied by the Robert Hooke in the year 1665 and he discovered the cell. The branch of science which deals with the study of structure and the components of the cell, their structures and their functioning is called cell biology. Many scientists worked in the field of cell biology. Leeuwenhoek was the scientist who in the year 1674 discovered free living cells in the pond water. He was the first to discover the living cells. Robert Brown in 1831 discovered nucleus. Purkinje in 1839 discovered protoplasm, that is the liquid component or the fluid component inside the cell. M.J. Sheldon and T. Schwann in 1838 and 39 postulated a cell theory. What are the postulates of the cell theory? It states that all living organisms are made up of cells. All these plants, all these animals are made up of cells. The cell is the basic unit of life, means all the metabolic reaction they take place inside the cells. Every organism starts its life as a single cell. These were the three postulates which were given by Sheldon and Schwann. Later on, Rudolf Virchow in the year 1855 expanded the cell theory by adding one more postulate which says that new cells arise from the pre-existing cell, which in the French is written as omnis cellulae e cellulae. This is omnis cellulae e cellulae, which means new cells arise from pre-existing cells. Now, I'll be discussing one activity by which you will be clear about the structure of the cell. This experiment we will be performing in the laboratory also. All of you have seen an onion bulb. Cut the onion and from a single bulb, from the concave side of the onion bulb, remove the peel. That peel is put in a watch glass which contains water. Add 2 to 3 drops of saffron in so that onion peel can attain the pink color and the structure can be observed easily. Afterwards, that onion peel is shifted on, that piece of the peel is shifted onto a glass slide and we put few drops of glycerin. Why glycerin is added? To prevent drying of the peel and better view of the structure. Then we put a square cover slip over the slide and the slide is observed under the microscope. In the microscope, you will find that the structure of the onion cell, it appears like this, and you will find these cells having a centrally dark stained nucleus. Now up till now, you can read page number 57-58 of the NCERT book. There is one yellow box at page number 58 in which all the history of the cell is being given, names of all the scientists which I have discussed till now, and then you need to write these questions related to the topic. What is a cell? Who discovered cell and when? Year is necessary to be learnt. How the cell was discovered? History of the cell as we have discussed in the lecture itself, and write the postulates of the cell theory. Thank you students. This is for today. Rest we will continue in our next lecture.